A church pastor stands accused of pilfering millions from his congregation. He sold his congregation a worthless S coin. What would Jesus do? It's time to go around the blockchain. Thank you for joining, everybody. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's shock the YouTube algorithm. Let's awaken the Google overlords because we got 4 phenomenal guests with us today. We're going to go start in the green square with Jenna X. Jenna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, DZ. Thanks for having me back on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You ready to spread the gospel of your favorite altcoin?
I'm so ready.
Always. Also on, we have Matthew Snider. Matt, how are you doing today? You're looking sharp. What do you got on the shirt? Is that a Bored Ape?
It's a Bored Ape from Trill Burgers. Was an amazing patty and a pretty boring bun. But hope you're doing well, DZ. Glad to be here. Happy Mutant Monday, everybody.
You can see him at the crypto conferences all the time. Good guys. One of the first people to use the IP successfully. Also on today, it's my Canadian brethren. It is Piano Matty B, and he had some strong thoughts on Strickland. I don't know if he was agreeing with the reporter, though. Piano, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Just up here behind the maple curtain. It's very snowy and cold up here, but we're doing okay. Thanks for having me again.
You know, I always like asking you, I'm going to check momentarily here. How cold is it where you're at currently? It is, wow, it's warmed
12.
up. It's minus 12 in Celsius, everybody. Yeah. So coming in pretty cold right there. And then last but not least, we have Moonin Papa, and you have to check out his content because I'm going to be popping up on a show later this week. Moonin, how long till we can expect that? Turnaround of 1 day, 5 days, a month?
Oh, a day. Easy.
A day. Oh, he's cranking out. Hey, crypto's fast and crypto starts mooning. You got to get in on that. All right. Well, hey, I can't wait to do it. I'm going to go on your show and say Papa's home. All right, let's talk about Sam Altman. Yes, that's right. The Altman is back in the news. This time it's for raising billions of dollars. If we share my screen right here, he has ambitious plans to establish semiconductor manufacturing facilities. In case you were wondering, almost essentially all high-end chip manufacturing is done in Taiwan. It's an area fraught with political tension. You know, is it a state? Is it not a state? Ask the UN. You'll get 2 different answers here. Well, all of our facilities are overseas, and there's not much in Europe. There's not much in America. Well, it looks like he's trying to change that. He wants to raise between $8 and $10 billion to create some chip manufacturing facilities. Of course, he's famous for being behind OpenAI and also famous for being behind WorldCoin, the orb that scans your eyeballs. Or you scanned my brown eye when I went up to the facility there. But beyond his involvement in the chips here, he also does believe that AI is the future, but it hinges on chips and energy, and he's trying to tackle the chips here. Now, Jenna, I saw someone bring up a pretty good comparison, saying Sam Altman is almost like the new Elon. He scaled up a small company into the tens of millions, took someone else's company, scaled that from tens of millions into the billions, and now he's launching his own company, potentially going to be worth, as high as $1 trillion. What are your thoughts? Is Sam Altman the new Elon?
No, he's like the Antichrist. I like Elon. I don't like Sam Altman.
What is it that you dislike the most about Altman? Is it his name?
No. Well, yeah, I don't like his name either. And I think he's friends with SBF, but I don't like WorldCoin. And I think that ultimately they just want too much power and control. And I don't like that. I think it could be very, very bad for humanity. I like some AI, but I don't like the direction that they're going with it.
All right. Well, Matt, I want to talk about the direction they're going with the chip building processes. Are they going to be able to successfully pull this off? For whatever reason, no one has been able to replicate what they're doing in Taiwan. Will he figure out the secret sauce?
Absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. If you read a book called Chip War, which just came out, I believe, a year or 2 ago, it's a fantastic history of why we're in the predicament we're in with respect to semiconductors and the process. So the fabs, these manufacturing facilities, predominantly in Taiwan because of a lot of historical reasons, 95% of all chips are manufactured there. So the reason why China is super interested in either taking some of it back or putting some of their people there is really about the ability to manufacture these goods. The challenge is that they're very, very difficult to make, and economies of scale is really important. And I think $8 to $10 billion is a drop in the bucket for what's going to be needed to produce these chips efficiently and at scale. And that's really, really important, because why NVIDIA and AMD do so well is because they just create the software. They just create the ideas, just like Apple creates those ideas and manufactures them over in China. So I think that this is ambitious, but completely out of his wheelhouse. And if he thinks he's going to upend the manufacturing of semiconductors, I think he's grossly misplaced.
All right, so he might have his first miss in the professional world. Well, arguably WorldCoin. Yeah, arguably WorldCoin's a miss too. All right, well, we'll see. And we have Kelly in the chat. Shout out to Kelly. How are you doing, man? All right, and the Taters in the house as well. All right, Matty B, let's say he can pull off some sort of semi-success here, for semiconductors. And I want to ask you a semi-sweet question here. It's not really. Is this bullish for WorldCoin if he is able to pull this off and Sam Altman becomes more and more of a household name, a common name? Well, more and more people figure out, oh, he's also building something with WorldCoin. Let me bet on that to be a winner as well.
I guess, with the rising tide, it might carry that boat up. But I my advice to Sam Altman is he's raised what, $8 to $10 billion. That's rookie numbers. I mean, he's got to get in his sales force that Zelensky character in Ukraine. He managed to raise upwards of 200 billions out of the U.S. government alone, and he's just running some crackpot criminal organization over there. He needs a salesman like Zelensky to pull this one off.
Well, he needs those good lobbyists that work for Zelensky, maybe, like a Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, who is linked to Epstein's Island. All right, last question on this topic. Moonin, he knows what I'm talking about because he was there. Joking, obviously joking. All right, is it time to sell NVIDIA stock? NVIDIA, one of the best performing assets. In fact, one of the only assets in recent years that can beat Bitcoin in a short time frame. Are you feeling bearish for NVIDIA now that Sam Altman might come in and emerge as a real contender?
No, I think competition is good for the market. If anything, there's a reason why you would have, let me put it this way. There's a reason why you have a couple of stocks in a portfolio. Now, I'm not a stock trader, I'm a crypto trader, but I understand that there are some safe companies that you can invest in for the long term that's going to give you some good returns in the long term, maybe not in the short term, like you're saying. So I don't think NVIDIA, just because there's new competition, just automatically just pushes them out of all these stock portfolios, the same way as you'd have like McDonald's or Coca-Cola in a long-term stock portfolio. So I still think NVIDIA has a lot, or rather a long history, and they still have a lot that they can do, especially when there's competition. That means that they're going to be working harder to produce a better product.
All right. Well, a good product is going to be a good thing, and we'll see how this shakes out. I, for one, as an American citizen, would like to see something that isn't next to, the world's most populated country or second world's most populated country. Probably hard to, eventually it's going to be under Chinese rule. Let's just go ahead and say it. On a 100-year timeline, 500-year timeline, Taiwan, unlikely to be an independent state. But that's another episode for another day. Let's talk about the Holy Spirit. No, the holy shit coin, everybody. Let's share my screen. This is quite the story. You're almost not going to believe it when you see it. A church allegedly issued a crypto token backed by nothing but God's word. If we keep scrolling down here, he marketed to devout Christians and claimed it was made because of God's instruction. If we keep scrolling down, Defendant Eli, it's a heck of a name, right? If you're going to be involved in a Jesus coin crypto scam, might as well have a name like Eli. Defendant Eli, he leveraged the potential investors' faith, the complaint said. He stated that their investment success was guaranteed by God. But he had a comment. Well, we wasted a lot of time trying to work with the world's experts, he posted on a forum. They said what we're doing is a security, but God says, no, it's a utility coin. I said in God's voice there. I'm sorry I can't do a Morgan Freeman impression. Well, he said he sold millions of dollars worth of this token. Well, eventually the Colorado couple, they had their assets frozen by the state after making millions on the crypto. They said, God's command here. It was INDX coin. They said, hey, because it's a utility coin, it's as ordained by the Lord, we cannot be charged with any kind of securities violations there. In a video response, he admit, hey, This is from the pastor's mouth. He admit, hey, I cashed out the funds. Half of it, went to the IRS. But the remaining $300K, don't worry, it went to a home remodel. But wait, the home remodel also ordered by God in his words. I'm actually not kidding there. Well, Matt, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts on this story?
Well, this is actually a great proof of concept because I was recently approached by an Episcopal church in my local area to help them with investment advisory and any potential opportunities to have people donating in crypto. So while they may not be looking to create their own token, at least I have a roadmap now for them to either emulate or not emulate in some instance. I think this is a very unique and interesting case of fraud, which is kind of clear about what this is. But it is very interesting to see religious institutions trying to figure out this crypto ecosystem. Maybe there are opportunities for people to add donations and stewardship in this space. So kind of an interesting story.
It is an interesting story. Now, Jenna, I want to ask you, I've seen it on the bracelets. We've all seen the initials. Jenna, what would Jesus do?
Oh man, they better repent because they are going straight to hell. I think anyone, like, this is so messed up to take advantage of, Christianity or any religion for that matter. Like, there's an actual Jesus token out there. And of course, I mean, I'm a degen, so of course I bought it, right? But I've been following the project and it's fine. They're not making all these weird promises. They're not rugging people, but this is just messed up. And I watched that video and what really upsets me is that guy believes it. Like, he's not sorry at all. Like, he's just like acting like this is fine. This is what God told us to do. Like, what a crackpot. And if you are that stupid and you're believing this, honestly, I hate to say that you deserve to get rugged, but you've got to be smarter than that. Like, do your research, people. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It blows my mind.
If you get rugged, that's just the cross you have to bear, I think. If we could we could share my screen one more time. When some investors began growing wary of the lack of returns and considered fully cashing out, Eli reportedly told him, hey, God's telling him that everyone should hodl. Matty, now you buy this coin. The preacher says, hey, God told me to hodl. I mean, I'm also interested. What are your thoughts of this story?
Was it a Christian church?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, I thought it was a different religion, but then now that I'm thinking about it, if it was a different religion, they probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble. What makes me sick to my stomach is how no matter what, all these people got rugged, but guess who still got their Momo? IRS. It's like, listen, you're doing something illegal here, but before anything happens, we want our cut and then go on our way. But like Jenna said, if you don't do your research, this is going to happen. It's not going to be the first time, not going to be the last time. It's going to happen many more times. It's just kind of sad that these people were, so trusting, I guess, at the end of the day.
Very, very trusting. Well, maybe the writing was on the wall. I actually have the items that they bought right here. $1.3 million, which they spent on luxury handbags, cosmetic dentistry, snowmobile adventures, an au pair, home renovations, luxury vacations, and other items. Well,
that's what the Lord would want.
That's what Jesus wanted. Moonin, I can't help but think of some advice here. Moonin, should we turn the other cheek to do like the old good book says?
So I'm struggling a lot with this story. I am a Christian. So when I read this, it really pisses me off to see a pastor taking advantage of his community, of his church. That's not what Jesus would do, obviously. When it comes to pastors even taking a salary, I think that there's a reasonable amount that's okay for a pastor to take. But when I saw like that list that you just shared, like the snowmobile adventure, the au pair, all this stuff, it's like, guys, really? I mean, are we reading the same book? Are we really going to the same kind of church? Obviously not. So there's also the part of me, it's like, I don't want to throw stones too, because I mean, I've messed up in not similar ways, but we've all messed up. So it's also like, there's this real tug in my mind right now, how to deal with the story, how to respond to it. But I could tell you that any church that creates an exchange and a coin that's only traded on the exchange, I'm pretty sure you could substitute church with company, founders. These are doxed founders, all this stuff. So what they've done, they've taken from the world and they've just replicated inside of their house, in the house of God. But I mean, we've also seen tons of scams that are really similar to this too. Unfortunately, they're putting Jesus at the front of this scam, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, and it's now you said there is an acceptable limit. You know, there's an acceptable salary. I mean, you can't just live off ramen in a cardboard box. You know, you got to be able to pay your bills. If we share my screen, what about Copeland levels of private planes? Is that exceeding the level? You want to come in below that or above that?
I'm going to come in below that.
Come in below Copeland. That's probably a good move right there. We just like to point out just the bad actors. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to poke fun at anything. There's a lot of very faithful people in this office, and they all had a pretty similar reaction to Moonin Papa, mostly just pissed at these people. All right, well, it is an insane story, everybody. But now it's going to get even crazier because we're going to talk about Three Arrow Capital's founder in jail and how he said it was a good thing. It's a good thing that I'm locked up here. 3AC founder Zuzu says, prison, good for you. After a 4-month stay right there, they shared online where he spoke fondly of prison life, the dominance of incel rhetoric, and the goofiness of Andrew Tate there. Well, previously recorded was September 2023. They were arrested in Montenegro for 4 months in prison for failing to cooperate with investigators. During the podcast, you know, he talked about his daily routine, strict policies regarding, you know, day-to-day life inside the prison. Well, he's saying it's led to a lot of benefits. One, sleeping on the floor, it's not that bad. Led to deep, restful sleep. It helped decompress his spine, leading to a magical appreciation of the old ways and how individuals are supposed to live. Now, at their peak, they had $18 billion in assets. Like I said here, we share my screen. I actually had the best sleep of my life in prison. And if we scroll down to the end, let's see, other clips. He talks about incel thinking becoming dominant in mass media and the U.S. presidential race. 17-second segment of them reminiscing of early videos of Andrew Tate, in which he says Tate raised very philosophical questions about whether it's more not hetero to sleep with a man with female genitalia or a woman with male genitalia. So they went some left turns on this podcast pretty clearly there. Jenna, you're laughing. What are your thoughts of this whole situation?
Well, I mean, when you're locked up, you have a lot of time to think of things, right? And I guess like it does cross your mind, is this more gay or is that more gay? And that's totally fine. But, you know, I think it's great that he is making the best of this. I mean, and optimistic about that. I mean, you go into jail, it's supposed to be a learning experience, right? But I'm pretty sure he also had a very fat commissary. So I'm sure it was a little bit more cushy for him, but good. You know, I'm glad that he took a lot out of this, and I hope that he's got answers to all of his gay questions.
You know what? Follow up, Matt. Did he get all the answers to his questions? What do you think his experience was like at the prison? I mean, was he able to reset his chi?
I think I do appreciate, in some sense, the positive spin on an already bad situation. It's like being shot and saying like, oh, everybody should get shot once. Like, it's already happened to you. So of course you have two options. You can say it's the worst thing that's ever happened, or it's the best thing that's ever happened. And he's trying to put a positive spin on it, probably because he wants to make himself feel better. And those things actually happen. The more positively you approach your situations, like holding a bunch of bags, of course everybody should hold a bunch of bags. Of course you should go through a rug pull. It's a great experience. You feel so different and so much better once the rug has been pulled that you now know not to deal with it anymore. So I think, you know, I just appreciate him trying to put a positive spin on things, as we all should.
All right. And a lot of people got a lot of comments about the previous topic there. Jesus was brown. Wook says, well, technically he was born in what's modern day Palestine. Correct me, any theologians, if I get anything incorrect. It's just a Jewish man born in modern day Palestine 2,000 years ago. I think it's pretty safe to assume what he looked like. You know, probably a lot of those families haven't moved. I'm not trying to say anything weird. There's a lot of permanent settlements and just people like that land for whatever reason. All right, here, let's go to his comments here. Zoo said, you can read all the books you want. You could do all the push-ups you want. 3 meals a day, including all the fruit. And then sleep is amazing. Well, Matty B, I can't help but think of how a crypto degen lives. How someone maybe even watching right now lives. They're in their basement. They're waiting on the chicken tendies from mom. They haven't seen sunlight in ages, hunched over the keyboard. Would a lot of crypto enthusiasts benefit from a upheaval of their lifestyle? What are your thoughts of, living like our ancestors did, or at least closer to it?
Well, first I got to say that most men's biggest nightmares would be to go to jail and get their chi reset, right? So if he was in jail looking for his chi to get reset, and then we do some more math here. I was talking about the beauty of incel and how this isn't gay or that is gay. We have to tally up all those kind of gay questions and come up with our own answer. And maybe that's why he was so desperate to get his chi reset in prison. And you know what? Hopefully he did get his chi reset in prison. Maybe all his chi dreams came true in prison. I bet you he wasn't in a prison in Canada. Sounds like those Singaporean prisons are a cakewalk.
You know what? I remembered it. I thought, Matty, you're closer to my age here. Remember the caning for spray painting cars? Wasn't that Singapore? Wasn't that Malaysia? I don't know if they've gone soft or not.
Depending where that cane went, he might like that too. Right?
God, I walked right into that one, just like he walked into it backwards. All right, and last but not least, Moonin Papa. I'm curious on your thoughts. Those who don't know, Moonin Papa actually based in Japan. I don't know if maybe more people talk about 3AC than they do over here. It got overshadowed by the next collapse and the next collapse and the next collapse. Over here, all we do is talk about Sam Bankman-Fried. What are your thoughts on this situation?
I think when you have a high profile case and you are sent to prison, you're not really sent to prison. You're sent to like daycare. So yeah, he had a great experience in daycare. If you think about it, he was eating fruit. He got to take naps. He got to read books. It sounds like he got to regress a little bit to be a boy, and he didn't really grow up into a man. He didn't go to real prison, in my opinion. He went to some cushy place. He didn't really get his life in perspective at all, especially with those kinds of questions. He did not really do some deep soul searching, in my opinion. 4 months is not enough. Not enough. I know I'm not the judge. I don't have all the details, all that stuff, but obviously you should go back in front of the judge and tell these same things to the judge. And I wonder what the judge's response would be like, so nice. Go back to jail. You didn't learn your lesson. You're going to go back to jail. So yeah, not buying it. Not buying it at all.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. And just for a little clarification, these charges for this time being served is for attempting to flee the country. We're still waiting on the main sentencing and hearings and all that. So this is just him, a penalty for trying to jump on that airplane 4 months ago. So now he's serving that sentence out right now. But yeah, he's got more time to spend behind bars. Is going to be my guess. All right. Looks like, okay. All right. MJ, I see your comment. Well, folks, I think we had a fantastic episode. We actually went shorter than I thought. So I'm going to go around the blockchain here. Jenna, I'll start with you. Which of the 3 topics should we cover here? There are 3 fantastic topics.
Oh, the Jesus frauds.
All right. Jesus frauds. Jenna, we're going to go around the blockchain. I'm going to ask everybody the same question here. Should they do time or just have to have a financial restitution?
Time. They need to do a lot of time because I think that's what Jesus would want.
I'm not going to try to presume, but I would probably agree there. In fact, yeah, he would. Matt, time or just financial restitution? God told him.
I think you got to do treble damages on the financial problem. And we all know that they're going to be doing the time when the time comes, right? Like they're not going to that place. They're going to the real meme coins down in the depths. So.
All right. Yeah, they're going to get a poke with something else down there. Piano Matty B, should they do time? But what if they gave the people the money back? Should that be enough?
No, they should do time and restitution, but we all know they'll get neither. Just the way the world works.
And Moonin Papa, should they do time or self-flagellate like a Dan Brown novel?
Oof. They should probably do some time. They should give people back their money. Rather, the IRS should give them the damages. That would make the most sense, like Piano Matty B pointed out.
All right. Well, chat, what do you think? We're reading some of the things here. Let's see. People got some prison names. Hey, caught the end again. You know what? Crypto bot boy, late is better than never. Just like if you were, never mind. I was going to make a joke about prison sentencing, but we don't need to do that, everybody. All right. Well, folks, please hit that like button down on the bottom. All 4 guests are going to have a link down below in the description. So go check that out. Make sure you're following their content. I'm going to be on Moonin Papa's show later on this week, probably go out on a Friday or sometime around the weekend. Matt always putting out great stuff, talking to these financial advisors, putting the boots on the ground. Then we got Piano Matty B, the best thumbnails in the business, plus the best piano player in all of crypto. And then Jenna X, bringing you all the alpha. And if you like a little XRP, she knows a little something about that ecosystem as well. But that's all we got. Make sure you hit the like button, and we'll see you folks tomorrow.